Thank you. Welcome to our 52nd annual holiday concert here at URock. Guess we've been doing it for 52 years now. But guess what? We're going to do something that's unique. I bet the band that there is no other concert band in the universe that does this. Folks, we're having our intermission right now. I'm serious. It's partially because who wants to drink lukewarm hot chocolate? I mean, really, right? Those are my children down there saying yes. Of course they would, you know. However, I will go serve you right now hot chocolate and cookies. They've already been opened. I'm serving with another helper. And let's go have an intermission. Yes, I am serious. All right. Did everybody get their fill? All right. Excellent. Ooh, that was rather tepid, actually. Did everybody get their fill? That was better. This evening, I'm taking a slightly different tack. Indeed, we have played many of the same tunes as we have 20 years ago, and we have more of the same tonight. However, this evening I did a slight bit more research into the tunes and or the composers who made them, so it's almost scholarly this evening. Indeed, we start with Mannheim Steamrollers' Fanfare and Hark the Herald Angels Sing. So first off, Les Mitchell, sadly I left him off the program. We don't always have electric bass, and I realized that after I printed them all up. But Les Mitchell is on bass, and he's here playing for a couple numbers. Please give him a round of applause. Yes, thanks Les. And so, Mannheim Steamroller. If you know your orchestra history, Mannheim Steamroller actually is a device used in old pieces in the 18th century. It's called the Mannheim roller. It's a certain kind of musical device. It's a melodic, crescendo, actually, is what it is. And so Chip Davis thought, hey, let's call our group Mannheim Steamroller. It's catchy. And so the rest is history, as they say. What Mannheim Steamroller does is they mix synthesized sounds with orchestras. And so long story short, this tune, Fanfare and Hark the Herald Angels Sing, is from their second album, Fresh Air, and that is from, I forget exactly which year, I have it right here. I don't have it actually the year, but it's from, I want to say, like the early 80s. And the band has enjoyed it. Matter of fact, the band has enjoyed all these pieces, right? If I program a piece they didn't like, it wouldn't be on here. So, without any more talking, here comes Fanfare and Hark the Herald Angels Sing. Thank you very much. And so now we move on to Salvation is Created. This is by a person named Pavel Chechnikov. I did not know his first name, actually, because this is a rather common arrangement performed by concert bands. We've done it many years. This is something, a Russian, actually, who wrote on his own during Tsarist Russian days. And then the Russian Revolution happened, and he wrote for the Soviets. It is a bit of a sad story. The church where he was a choir director in Moscow, the Soviets, of course, weren't so much into religion, so they destroyed it, and he was very despondent and didn't write music again. But we have here tonight, on a happy note, one of his best-known pieces, Salvation is Created. Indeed, it is relating to Christianity, and so here it is. Thank you. And so our next selection, I'd like to invite David Wiemeister up to the podium because he'll be directing March of the Toys. So first off, a bit of explanation. It's been about 3 years ago now, and John Schrader was a member of our band, and he played percussion for us, among many other instruments, tuba as well. And we had spoken the night of our October collage concert, which he performed in. We talked about playing our E-flat alto horns, which I've always enjoyed playing. I bought it for 25 bucks out of Grand Rapids, Michigan. It's a nice little horn. We talked about it for the holiday concert that was coming up. Well, sadly, John passed away the very next day. And this is the last concert he played in. And so to honor his memory, I have performed, along with some other folks in the past, on the peck horns, as they're also called, the alto horns to honor his memory. And so tonight I will pick up my horn as well, and JATVMedia will direct. March of the Toys. Now a little bit of history behind this, though. It was composed, believe it or not, way back in 1902. And so at this time, we didn't even have musical theater quite yet. This was called an operetta, Babes in Toyland. But yet this music, it still lasts even into today. Heck, I heard it in WSJY today. You know, so people still listen to it over 120 years later. With that said, too, it reminds me a bit of Nutcracker. Not like completely. And indeed, the story is about Toyland and other like battles and things like that that happen, kind of similar to Nutcracker, but an American twist on it, to say the least. So, without further ado, here's JATVMedia. Let's give him a round of applause. Yes. So actually, what is next? I have a different, oh, there it goes. That would have been bad if it flowed on the floor. I really have to wing it. Yes, A Charlie Brown Christmas. I have my notes in incorrect order. So, A Charlie Brown Christmas. Many of us grew up with A Charlie Brown Christmas. Indeed, this movie came out in 1965, about 6 years before I was born. But indeed, it's one of the most popular tunes even still today, 60 years later. And indeed, Charlie Brown, Linus, Lucy, Snoopy, all of that. Very popular all throughout the years. Charles Schultz has left us, but still, it lives on in syndication ultimately. And indeed, Vince Guaraldi, jazz pianist, forever immortalized for his adaptations of certain things like Oh Christmas Tree, and also, of course, the Figure Skater song, which is in this arrangement. And so hopefully you'll get some fond memories from listening to our version of Charlie Brown Christmas. I think now it's time to pick on the band and see what people are wearing this year. Oh man, look at that tuba player. He looks like he's all decked out and ready to go for the holidays, I would say. He had an Elf on the Shelf order, but didn't quite make it in time, so he's wearing the same, which looks beautiful, man. It's wonderful. Look around the band. Ooh, some purple over there. That's nice. Yes, yes, yes. David B. Meister always wears his beautiful sparkly vest. Can't miss it. Sparkles like diamonds. And Dana right next to him has red sequins, it looks like. Yes, yes. I'm not seeing a whole lot of blue this year. I wore a tie with multicolors, and I haven't worn a straight tie ever for this concert. I wanted to change it up. You know how it is. Yes, indeed, the band looks festive, if not slightly tired. This is a long slog, this concert is. And indeed, I should mention this too, because it's very important, really. So we have a lot of folks in the band, and we have folks that cover all the decades that this campus has existed. We have somebody here who came to campus here in the 1960s, folks who came in the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, 2000s, 2010s, and today. So, yes, indeed, strong traditions in this band. A lot of folks, of course, remember the past with Bob Holt and Ted Kinnaman, who both directed this band at one point. And so 52 years on and longer than that, the traditions continue. So with that said, we now come to the Christmas song, otherwise known as Chestnuts Roasting on an Open Fire. Yes, and so this was Mel Torme, who was one of the writers, and guess what? He wrote it in a blistering hot summer heat wave. And so he thought of it as like, this will help keep us cool, I guess. What's also of note is that Nat King Cole sang this first, and he insisted on a string ensemble to back him up. Capitol Records didn't even want them to do that, but he did anyway. And it was a super big smash to the point that he re-recorded it twice, at least that I know of, in the 1950s and 1961, which is the edition that you usually hear on radio stations, and you hear it all over the place. But indeed, if you go check out YouTube, you can hear the earlier versions and how Nat King Cole's voice changed. With that said, it's still a very popular song. Of course, we don't have American chestnuts much anymore. We import them from China. That's true. But there are efforts to regrow chestnut trees here in the United States, along with, remember Dutch elms? You know, this was Bower City here, right? The big giant Dutch elms that look like hats, and they all died, you know, because of silly diseases and stuff like that. Almost like the emerald ash borer, those silly little beetles, right? But there are efforts to bring back all those trees. So you never know. One day again, we may have American chestnuts to roast over an open fire or something like that. So here we go. I know, I was waiting for the laughter. No one even... The band, they know me, you know, so. There you go, yeah, thanks. That's my son, by the way. All right, so, the Christmas song, written partially by Mel Torme. Thank you very much. By the way, that actually was the very first time we performed that piece. Thanks to Dana Carter. Dana Carter. Yeah, right. How many years have I known Dana? Thanks to Dana Carter for suggesting and actually getting this piece for us. It's always good to do new tunes. And so our next selection, actually, we have two selections that involve the Jewish faith. First is a tune called Hanukkah Collage, which I always make a joke about calling Hanukkah College. Indeed, we learn about these tunes. We don't hear them many other places. But they do help celebrate. They, in other words, are used. Music is a big part of Hanukkah, ultimately. And so these are three well-known Jewish pieces, basically arranged for concert band. And this is a standalone piece written not that long ago, actually, 2016. And we've done it at least 2 other times that I recall. Didn't do it again for some reason, but now we're doing it again, which I'm very happy about. And so this helps celebrate the Jewish traditions. And with that said, here is Hanukkah Collage. Thank you. So, yeah, if you watch our videos over the years, you may notice sometimes that the director, me, starts talking and there's no sound. These handheld mics, there's like a 3-second delay. You see the little green light out there? I have to wait till that comes on. It's so painful, that little second I have to wait, right? I want to talk to you, but I had to wait. Because if I don't, then it won't be held for posterity. By the way, thank you very much, JATV Alan Luckett, for recording our broadcast, or excuse me, broadcasting our concerts. Once again, give JATV a round of applause. Please do. Yes, they've been around for a long time, and they offer an excellent service to the community, video recording all types of different events, all types of different things happening in the area. And so our next selection is the 8th Candle. This also celebrates Hanukkah. Basically, Hanukkah celebrates the rededication of the Second Temple. This happened around 2nd century BCE, so before the Common Era is one way to say that. And indeed, this is a band favorite. The clarinets always ask, 8th Candle? Are we doing 8th Candle? The answer is yes, we are doing 8th Candle, yes. And so, and it is. Actually, as a matter of fact, I played recently in town here for Janesville Choral Union with Shelley Grothaus, who's a horn player. We go way back. And she showed me, Jeff, have you heard of this piece? It's called The 8th Candle. She got it out of her folder. It's like, of course I've heard of that piece. We play it every year. It's awesome. And it's true. And in other words, like, it's a very popular piece around you know, the United States, I suppose, ultimately, concert bands that do holiday music. The 8th Candle has really caught on. So, without further ado, here's the 8th Candle. Thank you very much. I am using notes today. Oftentimes I don't, and of course, my comments sometimes are slightly wild up here. I'm trying to keep it a little more scholarly, like I said. However, I will say that in the past, when Bob Holt directed the concert band for about 30 years, he had, I believe it was a physics professor who narrated the concert for him. Maybe I should find a narrator in the band somewhere. Scott would do it. No, but we need Scott on the beautiful dulcet tones of the baritone saxophone, which plays lovely. With that said, though, I enjoy. Actually, I really don't like talking to audiences, to be honest. Oh, come on, loosen up out there. Do you need more hot chocolate? Yeah, it is true, actually. For the orchestra, I put together program notes, and really musically, I could probably focus a little better if I didn't talk to the audience, to be honest. It's funny, speaking of choral union the other day, Dick Severing talked to the audience twice, and he said, I quote, "I don't talk to audiences," and everybody chuckled with that one, and it's true, but maybe Dick's taking a little after me now, who knows? With all that said, we now come to the ends of our concert, pretty much here with Christmas Festival and Sleigh Ride, and we talked a little bit about Leroy Anderson, who composed both these pieces. And so, long story short, he also thought of Christmas Festival. I want to get that right here. Was it Christmas Festival or Sleigh Ride? Yes. Sleigh Ride actually was conceived during a heat wave in 1946, kind of like the Christmas song earlier, right? I guess people in the summer, they want to think about Christmas. So, with that said, Leroy Anderson, he had works premiered by the Boston Pops Orchestra. So this is a little brief story about how pop orchestras work. Basically, orchestras play during the regular, almost academic year, really, of sorts, when it gets cold outside. And that's when they play their symphonies and things like that. But oftentimes, big orchestras make their money during the summertime with Pops orchestras. And sometimes the players, it's grueling playing, let's just put it that way. And so it's just a lot of, pop tunes are all over the place as far as notes. In symphonies, it tends to lay where it's going to sit, and you're used to that, but pop tunes are a little bit different. With all that said, Leroy Anderson, he wrote for the Boston Pops under Arthur Fiedler, and John Williams, yes, that John Williams of Star Wars music fame, called him, and I quote, "one of the great American masters of light orchestral music." And indeed, these two pieces, Christmas Festival and Sleigh Ride, were originally composed for orchestra, but Anderson himself actually transcribed them a little bit later for band. So here comes our first tune. This was actually composed in 1950. This is A Christmas Festival. Thank you very much. Thanks so much for coming this evening. Really do appreciate it. And no matter what you believe, whether it's Christmas or Hanukkah or Kwanzaa, even perhaps Festivus or a South Park Christmas where they dance around in black leotards, I encourage you to enjoy the season and wish you all the warmest of holidays. We end our concert with Sleigh Ride, the classic Leroy Anderson tune. Look for us in the spring. We plan on doing Jupiter, the bringer of jollity, along with a piece called Spirited Away from a Japanese composer, which we tried to do when we were doing concert band in 2020, but COVID struck, sadly. So come on out at that time in May, and we'll see you then. Otherwise, get some treats on the way out. Band too. Don't leave me with all the treats. No, please take some, please. The hot chocolate can be, no, those are my kids. They want all the treats. No. Are you kidding me? They'd never go to sleep if they ate all that, right? It's like Halloween candy, it lasts forever, and then suddenly your kids have 20 calories, and then, yeah, parents know what I mean. All right, so here we go. Thanks for coming. Sleigh Ride. Enjoy your holidays.